let's start with the text. Your text, yo. Hi my loves, welcome back to yet another video. If you are new here, and if you are a returning sabi, thank you so much for popping back by. Do not forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. So on today's video, I am going to be answering some questions about or regarding teaching in Taiwan. So if you are looking into moving to teach in Taiwan, or you're already here in Taiwan to looking into starting a new teaching venture, then this video might be very much helpful to you. I do know that a lot of people are going to be switching schools or changing agencies. So this video is exactly what you need. Do not forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and comment down below. So let's jump straight into the video. So let's start with teaching at public schools or the government schools, and then also teaching at the language schools or the private schools, cram schools, bushibans. So I will cover those two, and then obviously just cover random other questions. So the first question is, what qualifications are required to teach at a public school? So to teach at a public school, foreigners should have following qualifications. One, you should have a bachelor's degree and above. It could be a bachelor's degree in anything, but if you do have a bachelor's degree in education, then it becomes quite better, because it means you can qualify to have a teaching license from South Africa. And also you might need to get like a PGCE. If you do not have a teaching degree, then you might need to have a PGCE, especially if you're coming from South Africa, because your PGCE will enable you to get like your teaching license from SACE, and that will obviously mean that you will be eligible to work for the government or for the public school. So also, if you would like to know if maybe your university is listed in one of the universities that are qualified to teach in the government schools in Taiwan, then I will link below or in my description box links of different universities from different countries, list from countries in America, Europe, Asia, Africa, basically around the world, and then you can see if your university is listed in one of the links down below. So the next thing you want to keep in mind is that you have a teaching license. Having a teaching license is really important if you want to land yourself a job in the government school. So if you have any degree and you do not have a teaching license, then you will not be eligible to teach at a public school. However, if you have any degree, maybe a degree in psychology, and then you have your PGCE, which is your postgrad certificate, and then in education, and then you have your SACE, then you are eligible in teaching at a public school. And then also another thing that you need to have is your police clearance, which is valid within 6 months. So those are the basic requirements that you need to teach at a public school in Taiwan. So now let's look at what if you do have qualifications, but you do not have qualifications like a teaching degree, but you still want to come to teach in Taiwan. So it means maybe you might be eligible to teach at a language school or a cram school or an international school or a bushiban school. So these are the things that you will need to qualify to teach at a language school other than the public school in Taiwan. So the first thing you need is you need to be at least 20 years old and above, and then you also need to be someone who has graduated from a university or college that is recognized, and you can have any bachelor's degree. It could be a bachelor's degree in science, a bachelor's degree in basically anything, and if you have that, some institutions might require you to also have a TEFL or CELTA or TESOL certificate. It depends on your application. And also you need to be coming from a native speaking country, same as teaching in a public school. You need to be someone who comes from a native speaking country. However, the government has been employing people from other Asian countries, example, the Philippines, because they do have, okay, later on, I will touch on that. Taiwan, that is why it is now becoming more difficult for people to apply or to land themselves jobs, because the competition is really high. And at the end of the day, they are looking for a specific accent and fluency. And obviously you need to reach specific requirements so that you can land yourself a job. So it's quite important that you look into that and consider a lot of aspects when it comes to applying for jobs, because like I said, the competition is getting quite tough and quite high. So you want to always be on your toes when it comes to your actual application, how you present your CV, as well as your demonstration video leading towards your introductory video, as well as your main interviews. You really need to make sure that you do your best, basically. Not even try, just do your best so that you can be at a better place of landing yourself a job. Okay, so the next question is, what can I do if my country does not provide teaching licenses or any official teaching license? Then if that is the case in your country, but you are maybe a qualified teacher, or you do have teaching experience, or maybe you really would just like to come teach abroad, then you might need to contact your Board of Education so that they can provide or help to provide an official statement or proof or document that proves that you do have teaching experience, or you are a teacher in your home country. The next question is, how does Taiwan's government define teaching license? So they define a teaching license as a document that enables you or allows you to teach. It's like a document that says you are indeed qualified to teach at a public school or to teach at a government school as a qualified teacher. It does not mean that if you do not have a teaching license, however, maybe you have been teaching or tutoring, it does not mean that you do not have any experience. The teaching license document just proves or helps to make your application a bit more secure, to say that actually, yes, we know that you can teach and you are a licensed teacher. The next question is, are documents or certificates like TESLA, Delta, CELTA, TEFL recognized by the government? All honesty, in the public schools, they just need your teaching license. So having a TEFL certificate in the public school, it does not add any credits or any, it does add value in you like becoming an upskilled teacher, but when it comes to your qualification, I mean, when it comes to your overall application, it does not necessarily mean anything. However, it might be helpful if you are looking into teaching at a language school or a cram school, international school, private school, or even a bushiban. So if you are applying to teach at a government school, a teaching license is good enough to prove that you are eligible to teach, and having it being a teaching license from a native speaking country puts you at a better stand or a better chance of really securing a job, so long as you make sure that you also do well in your interview, your teaching demos, as well as your introductory videos. The next question, does my degree need to be apostille, and will that actually affect my application to teaching at a public school in Taiwan? Well, not really, especially for countries like the native speaking countries. it's not really mandatory, especially because there are countries that they need your documents. If you come from those countries, then they need you to apostille your documents. Example, Afghanistan, Algeria, Iraq, Cameroon, Cambodia, Philippines, Thailand, Nigeria, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. However, in all of the native speaking countries such as the UK, South Africa, Canada, Australia, you do not need to apostille your documents such as your teaching degree or your degree, as well as your teaching license. However, it might be different if you are employed by a private institution or a private school. Maybe they might need you to do those documentations or get your documents apostilled. So each application, it depends on your employer, what they require from you, and whether you're applying to teach at a public school or at a private school. So let's say you have teaching experience from like your previous school, or you do have some public school teaching experience, and you want to now apply to come teach here in Taiwan, and you want to bear in mind that you can actually add experience or years of experience into your teaching application so that you can, or it can help to rank or help your salary scale to actually go up. So example, if you were teaching previously at another school in your home country, a public school, and now you're applying to come and teach in Taiwan, even if it was a private school, you would need to have your referral letter or a recommendation letter, or just a letter that proves that you were teaching at a public school prior to coming to teach in Taiwan, and they need to make sure that letter has a letterhead, school stamp, it must be signed, it must be like just an official document that proves that you were teaching, and then they can add those years to your experience, and then it could help to boost your salary on the salary scale. And then the next question is, should I get health check in my home country or in Taiwan? So during COVID, the procedure or the application process changed because they were like, it's easier for you to do your medicals in your home country, but then they would need to send you a medical check form that you would take to your nearest public hospital or private doctor, or specific doctors that will help you with your chest checkups, as well as your stool checkup, your blood tests, and just everything they would need specifically for Taiwan, because you do need your medical check for your work permits. However, prior or before, you could do your medicals here in Taiwan, and if you are renewing your contract, you're already here in Taiwan and you are renewing your contract, you can still make or do your medicals here in Taiwan to get a new work permit, and then to be able to consume a new working position, or to continue at your current school. Some schools do not even require you to do like a new medical check, because if you have been working at that school for a certain period of time, then sometimes it makes sense for them to say, okay, no, we don't need you to do your medical check for us to know that you are okay. And sometimes they will say, actually, we do need your medical checkup so we can know that you are okay, and then we can help to sponsor your work permits in the next academic year. So the next question is, I am from the Philippines and wondering if I can apply for your teaching positions in Taiwan as a native English speaker. Like I said prior, that they are now taking applications from countries like the Philippines. So yes, they do take applications from the Philippines. However, they obviously look at things like they do have like teaching licenses, and they have a clear English accent, then they do qualify. However, they will need to apostille their documents. They will need to provide transcripts and records of their diplomas or degrees, and they obviously need to follow the procedures based on their country, which I will not touch base on more, because this video is just like to cover general questions. It's not specifically to help those who are traveling or applying from a specific country. And then the next question is, what is the peak season for recruitment if you want to come teach in Taiwan? So you can apply at any time of the year. However, if you did not know, the academic year starts end of August, early September to July the following year, or end of June the following year. So you might want to look at the calendar so that you can pace yourself. And also we do have winter vacation in end of January to beginning of Feb, and we have summer vacation end of June to late or mid August. So you do want to look at the time frames and pace yourself. However, you can apply at any point of the time of the year, or you can proceed with applying at any time of the year. That if you arrive here in Taiwan, let's say maybe in or around October or November, your taxes for that year will not be included in the following year. So you need to really strategize. I would recommend that if you want to gain more taxes, or actually be able to have your taxes accumulated for the following year, I would suggest that you come here to Taiwan, let's say maybe in Feb, March, April. Those are the good months for you to actually start accumulating better tax returns for the next year, if that matters, or if that's something you might be interested in. But however, it does not matter. You can come to Taiwan at any time of the year. So the next question is, what is the next step after you send all your required documents to your recruiters? The next step is that they will then arrange an interview with you. The main purpose of that initial interview is for them to listen to your accent and basically just get to know you and your personality, as well as just being able to assist you with getting a school. So after you apply and you get your first initial interview, then they will start like sending your video and your CV to several schools, and then several schools will then have a look, and then they will see and decide if they want you or not. And then once a school says they would like to have you or to give you a chance, you to say, actually, we do have a school that is quite interested in you, so now maybe let's move on to your teaching demo, or now we would like to have this kind of document from you, or let's move on to this kind of interaction so that we can proceed with your application. Some schools would prefer that they interview you themselves after like choosing you as their candidates or possible, or you know, like as someone who they felt like you spark interest in them. So they might say, oh, actually would like to engage with this person, would like to have an actual interview, a direct interview with this person, rather than you as an agent or as a recruiter being the person in charge. We'd like to actually engage with this person and then decide if we want this person or this candidate or not. What is a typical work schedule in Taiwan? So in public schools, we typically start our classes from 8 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, and you typically teach about 20 to 24 hours a week. It depends. I know that some programs hours are less, or they could be more. It depends on the arrangement on your school and your actual contracts. So read your contracts. Be sure that you are happy with your contract and everything that is listed on your contract aligns with what you prefer. And then also in other schools, like the language schools, sometimes the classes might start in the afternoon and the evening. Sometimes it might be Monday to Friday, specific times of the week or days of the week. It could be in the morning only. Like, it depends on each contract. And also in some schools, they might even say you need to also have Saturday classes or Saturday morning classes. And also the holidays depend on the kind of contracts you have. So public school holidays are different from the language school holidays or the private school holidays. Also, it depends on what you signed for. So make sure you read your contracts properly, please. And if you can, try to see if you can negotiate some things before signing, especially when it comes to things that you feel like they can be adjusted, but also be reasonable. Yeah, be reasonable. I'm sure recruiters and schools can always be considerate if you do qualify, and if you are a candidate that they are really interested in, they can always like try to see how best they can meet you halfway. But then also I advise that if you land yourself a job, come here, work, be someone who can show that you've done well for yourself within your school in such a way that they are comfortable with letting you do some things because they know that they trust you. You've built a trust. You've really shown them that you can perform, and they know that they can rely on you as a school or the recruiting agency. Then it leaves you at a better space where, or a better chance where you can be able to maneuver around your contracts and be able to make slight changes here and there based on what works for you or what could work better for you at the school and with the school. So is there any training prior to your work? I know that there isn't like a specific orientation or induction training in public schools. However, usually the schools will give you time to adjust, maybe like a week to observe other teachers. If there are foreign teachers at that school, then you will be able to observe their classes, you will be shadow their classes, you will be able to also like ask a lot of questions. They will be able to share information with you, how they want you to teach specific things. They will basically give you some time to get used to the work. They are not going to just put you in the deep end from where it go and expect you to just swim, especially if you do not have any teaching experience or any experience of teaching abroad. So they will be patient with you. That's usually in public schools. And then in language schools or private schools or Bushibans, cram schools, they usually do have training sessions. They do have training sessions where they basically take you through the program, what they're expecting from you, and basically just fill you in, and also provide training such as TEFL training so that you can be more equipped to teach in their institutions. And I hope, or I am certain that some other language schools or cram schools, they also do provide their own specific training. However, in government schools, we do have workshops that are conducted at specific times of the year, depending on your agency. In Teach Taiwan, they do have ones that they host, I like to believe, once a month. I might be wrong. And for us, in our agency, we have them maybe once a semester, and then we have an annual workshop where we all meet up, and then we do get like awarded for our performances and stuff. And then, yeah, so the next thing is the tax and health insurance policies. So let's start with the tax. Your tax, guys, if there's one thing that I feel like could change in Taiwan, it's the tax. It could be better. Like, it's pants. So the tax, to put it simple, to make it like really simple, it is calculated or counted from your day of arrival, and you are taxed 18% off or over your total income in the first 183 days of the same year. And then you only get your returns in the next year. So in the next calendar year, not the next academic year. So example, if you came this year, January, you've been paying taxes maybe until, or you would be someone who has been paying 18% of taxes until June or July. And then from August, you will be taxed 5% until December. And then only next year, May, you will be able to apply for taxes from this year, January or February to July, and then you can only get your returns next year in August. So that's how it's done. Example, for last year's taxes, we've already applied in May, and we are going to get our returns now in August. Yeah, so that's the best way I can explain it. The next question, what is the maximum hours that a teacher is required to teach a week? The maximum hours or 40 hours, but that includes your admin work in the public schools. It includes your paperwork, it includes school events, it includes extramural activities and things that you need to do basically to make up for the 40 hours. But usually, or in most cases, we don't really work up to 40 hours a week, but it depends on your school. Do not quote me, don't say I said. It depends on your school. Some schools will require you to cover the full 40 hours. Other schools, they're really relaxed. It's okay as long as you are there during contact time. They are happy with that. Other schools might say, okay, they need at least maybe 30 hours from you in a week. That should be fine with them. Depends on your contracts. The next question, what happens if I want to bring my child and I want to enroll my child? Yes, you can bring your child. However, you need to follow a different specific process if you want to bring your child. It is advisable though that if you want to bring your child, come to Taiwan for the first 3 to 6 months and see if you are able to cope, if this is what you really want before committing into bringing your spouse and your children, so that you can see if Taiwan will work for you. Taiwan is a family-friendly country. It is a place where you can bring your kids or you can bring your spouse and start a family. However, each person's experience is not the same. I would advise that if you want to bring family and kids, first come here on your own. Be here for at least 6 months, give it 6 months, and then make that decision. Even 3 months is enough for you to make a decision. And then the next question, can I bring pets? Yes, you can bring your pets. However, guys, why would you want to have extra responsibilities in a foreign country? A pet, bring your kids, that's fine. But I'm just joking, I'm just saying. Those are some of the main key questions that people might have regarding teaching here in Taiwan. And if you are already here, there are different agencies that you can look into applying through. I will leave some links on my description box. If you do have anything else you would like to share, my comment section is open. Do leave your questions, do leave your comments if you want to add anything else. Remember, when we share information, just because I'm sharing this information does not mean that now nothing else matters. There's still information out there. There's more information that I did not include in this specific video. However, I just wanted to include the basic kinds of questions that people might have, especially when it comes to applying to teaching in Taiwan, or if you want to switch jobs within Taiwan. Is a lot more other information out there, and I will be continuing to share more information in the future. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys on my next sit down video or on my next vlog. Goodbye.